Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to break down two lanes from Beifeng and a couple of skirmishes so you guys can learn all the combos, all the mechanics that you need to climb in your own games. As you guys know, I recently reached GM on the EU West server, and his videos, they helped me a lot to actually win my lanes, because the spacing and tethering from Beifeng and the way he uses his abilities in lane is super unique and something that you don't wanna miss out on. So let's jump right into the video here. First of all guys, we have a little bit of an Ahri lane. So you will see that Beifeng plays the Ahri lane extremely slow. He's basically not walking up to the wave. One trick that you can use is what Ahri wants to do, and I'm gonna pause the video here and there so it's easier for you guys to follow. She wants to auto attack, and then she wants to W auto again, right? And then she procs electrocute with it. So if she auto attacks you, you can immediately W away and dodge her W, which is really nice and yeah, easily visible here. Do you see that? He immediately Ws away after the auto W. So we just let the wave come in. The nice thing about this also is that your wave starts attacking the Ahri, and then the wave pushes in faster because your minions are not hitting the enemy minions. So the wave is like bigger, and it leads to the enemy wave just pushing into you. So we are running the electrocute setup here into Ahri. That's by far the best setup you can go for. He's playing super slow here. You have to give all of these minions. A mistake I see a lot of my coaching sessions is that people just lose way too much HP early game. And as you can see, Beifeng is extremely disciplined here, and he tried to punish the Ahri on the last hit here. So what he did is he basically pretended to go for this creep, and then he wanted Ahri to auto-attack this minion, and then at the time of punishing the last hit, he wanted to Q in. And hitting that Q would have allowed him to grab W in stealth, and then actually, like, keep trading, right? He tried to play a mind game there, didn't really work out. And I think if he waits a little bit longer, by the way, this is really good. Like, if he waits a little longer, I think he was a bit impatient here, because the minion is not yet in kill range. So he had to wait a bit longer and Q into this direction. And then he would have hit the Ahri, and then he could have maybe just WQ'd to the side, or walked up in stealth and hit auto attack W, and just, like, you know, extend the trade a little bit. So I think this was actually a micro mistake. And yeah, I mean, we still hit the Q. She does proc electrocute, which is a little bit unfortunate. We grab grass, played really slow. We have a lag or something? Yeah, I guess the game just lagged there. Okay, not much I can comment on. That's interesting. So he hits a Q, he grabs rock and hits an auto attack, and then he hides behind the minions. Note how he's positioning his character behind the creep, so Ahri can't hit the charm. He gets charmed, but then he hits an EQ auto attack, and then WQ auto flash. Yeah, WQ flash auto. So let's debunk this again. Let's slow this down, okay, and let's exactly take a look at what happened here. All right. So let's go half speed here. Let's reduce the sound. So he hits the Q, right? So he grabs the W right here and hits an auto attack, immediately walking behind his minion so she can't hit the charm. Then he dodges the second Q and gets level 3. And since Ahri didn't expect him to get level 3 there, he can hit EQ auto attack ignite. And the problem is, if you try to WQ to the side, Ahri can flash it. But if you WQ flash, which he did right here, so essentially what he does is he grabs W, and then you can cancel your W animation in the middle of the animation by pressing Q and then flash. So he pressed WQ, and then he cancelled his Q animation with his flash right here. So yeah, the thing about this is that it's really hard to react to, and in this season you probably have to reset here, right? The reason why you have to reset is because Ahri has TP. And I'd be surprised if Beifeng shoves this wave. I'm pretty sure he will take a base instantly. Yeah, he does, exactly. So, as you guys can see, he comes back to a fully stacked wave. And the reason for that is because he, like, took an instant base and he didn't, like, overstay for the wave, allowing Ahri to pull a freeze or something. So we prepare the minions. Let's take a look. And the main important thing, guys, is that after your first base, you really want to stay full health and only trade if it's, like, extremely beneficial for you. So what I would try to do is I would try to Q poke maybe. Maybe EQ and then auto attack Q here to trade equally. Ideally you don't get hit by that charm. Ideally what you want to do here is you want to not get hit by this charm. And then you want to punish this cooldown by posturing aggressively like this or like this, and then Eing on minions and trying to play against the Ahri here. But he does get hit, which is a little bit unfortunate. She deals a lot of damage. EQ W auto attack Q makes up for it though, so that's pretty good. And now you can probably start playing a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, nice, he hits a WQ. That's pretty good. And since he has refillable potion, he is still quite healthy. and he can actually stay here. So the wave is in a little bit of a rough position. Ideally, you want the wave on your side or neutral, but you don't really want it on the side of the enemies, right? So one thing and one concept that I teach a lot in my coachings, by the way, if you are interested, check the first link down below, is that you can see that Ahri wants to CS, obviously, right? Like, when she goes for this minion, that is the exact timing of when you want to hit this EQ. Because she is distracted and she can't really react to both. Do you see that? She goes for the CS and he goes for an EQ immediately. So timing your EQs with last hits is a really important concept that you guys need to understand. So he dodges the charm, and now he can definitely look to trade. I mean, he gets hit by the tower there, which is a bit unfortunate. I personally would already look to reset here. 100%. Like, I would definitely look to base. Because I'm already quite low on mana, I'm quite low on HP. I mean, Ahri is low as well, but ideally you want to have more resources so you can make plays on the map. Plus, you don't really get shove anyways, since Ahri has a lot of wave clear. So yeah, I think getting hit by the tower shot and wasting that EQ was actually a pretty big mistake. This is a little bit suspicious. If he gets level 6 of the next 2 minions, I think he can play this maybe, but yeah. So we grab grass. We hold the wave here for a little bit, and I think he will just try to shove and take a base. Exactly, he shoves, takes a base, comes back, and he rushes the Tiamat. That's interesting. Okay, I think Ahri just realizes that there's a wild Nico in her lane. I respect it. And yeah, I mean, let's see what happens here. So, essentially what happens is we jump on... Ooh, we missed that EQ. So let's see how he missed that, right? Let's see what he messed up here. So I think that he simply didn't think that this minion would hit the Q hitbox, right? Because the Q, like the way your Q works is that if you Q right now, the hitbox is like this, right? It's like this. And it has like a middle part where it explodes. So if there's a minion like next to you, you will actually proc the Q and it will immediately explode. So this explosion part right here will then immediately proc here, and you don't have the entire duration of the Q. So this is exactly what happens here. Like, he tries to EQ, but he hits that one minion on the side here, which then leads to him, like this one, which then leads to him not getting his extended Q length, right? So something to be a little bit aware of. Now, the wave is about to be contested here, I'm pretty sure. Hecarim is pathing to bot. And we already have a kill, like, you really don't need to force too much. Plus, she also has the Catalyst, which is simply a really strong laning item. And it does feel like the Hecarim wants to play the Grubs here. So, what I would do here is I would try to not let Ahri enter the top side. I would try to heavy lean top, because I have a pink there, and the Grubs are up, and my jungler wants to play the Grubs. And if this Ahri is really good, what she will do is she will walk up aggressively in the lane. She will hold her abilities and she will just one-shot the next wave if she can. So yeah, this is a bit of a weird situation. Like, Hecarim really wants to invade here, but Beifeng still pushes the wave first. And this is fundamentally the right choice, because now what happens is that the wave, and guys, this is something you need to talk about, we need to talk about, the wave is now crashing under Ahri's tower, and that leads to Beifeng having a free opportunity to move here, whereas Ahri is like really, really cooked. Because she has to respond to the wave, right? Now she loses the wave, we get a kill on the Ahri there, we grab Rock, we kill the Viego as well, and let's break this down from a mechanical standpoint. This is what the video is all about, right? So first of all, Beifeng is not full committing immediately. You can see him basically hovering the edges every single time. Like, if the fight is breaking out here, you will see him walk here, there, there. Like, he'll just step around the edges, wait out the situation, take a look at key abilities that are being used, and then he sees this angle on the Ahri. So he uses Ice Q and then grabs W over the wall, auto attacks, and when she's in kill range and Hecarim also commits, that's when he can ER Tiamat auto attack ignite and then use Rock Q. And here he insta grabs Rock, which is super smart. So what a lot of people would have done here, they would have waited for unempowered Q to come up, but instead he grabs Rock immediately because he knows that if he doesn't one-shot this Viego, like, he can't greed to just get the kill. So ideally you want to have every kill on Qiyana, right? So what you can do here is you can wait for your unempowered Q, you can play the slow, and then use unempowered Q, WQ, and kill the Viego. The problem is that you need to kill this guy as quickly as possible, otherwise he gets a reset. So instead of greeding for the kill, what he does is he grabs Rock immediately to simply poke him down a bit quicker. And Hecarim also ends up dealing a lot of damage there with the Q. And now there are a couple of Qs for resetting, guys. So one of the Qs is really high gold. And the other two Qs are low mana and low health. And in this case, the Q high gold, which is basically like a trigger point for me whenever I have high gold, I'm immediately permanently thinking about taking a reset, right? So he one-shots this wave here and takes a reset because of that. So now we come back to the lane, we have our Profane, and staying full HP is even more important now. So I really dislike this trade, like, a lot. I think this is a terrible trade to take. Even if you win the trade, I don't think it's good. Because you really want to start making plays on the map. And Ahri has to respect you, so what you can just do is you can walk up to the wave, you can one-shot it, and then you can move towards bot side. And yeah. I mean, he still has 2 potions, so it's not that bad. He clears the pink here. That's okay. And now, look, Ahri is again moving without shoving the wave, so now Beifeng pushes the wave and then gets moved. Not much happening. And now it seems like there is a fight breaking out. We see Viego top, so this fight is fundamentally good, because we have numbers advantage. And yeah, Drake is being contested. By the way, if this happens to me, this is like, not end of review, but it's already pretty bad. Like, you are half HP into an Ahri when you are 3-0. This is not good at all. I mean, he actually ends up making it work anyways, because, I mean, he just has a lot of damage there. And let's actually take a look at how he executes this. So he walks into the river, pink wards, so he's 100% sure that Viego doesn't have vision on him. And then what we do is, and I'm gonna slow this down, and then we E ult ignite, Q W Q profane auto attack. So I think we could have been a little bit more efficient with our auto attacks here, if I'm being completely transparent with you guys. So what I think you could have done here is you could have E-R'd him into the wall though, because then he gets knocked up a little bit closer and he's closer to you, and then you can use an auto attack after your ER. So the combo would be ER and then auto attack. And then what you can do is you can auto attack him and then do the exact same thing with like QWQ and auto attack Tiamat. So that was pretty good. He dodges out on the damage from the Ahri charm. Gets hit by the charm now though. He will probably auto attack, unempowered Q and then grass, and then pretend to walk out and get a little bit of healing here. I don't know if it will be enough, but he can probably try to E here and dodge out on the Ahri damage, and now use Q and then rock you, maybe? He might actually survive this, and then he gets the kill and doesn't die. That was absolutely beautiful. That was perfection, by the way. That was literally perfection and the only way to ever get out there. So let's break this down, the part against Ahri. So first of all, guys, he dodges the charm from Ahri here. Do you see that? And he also dodges the entire Q damage. Ahri does a good job redirecting her Q there with the ult. So we auto attack, unempowered Q. Very important. You don't want to waste your unempowered Q, otherwise you deal significantly less damage. Then he uses grass Q, and I think what he could have done is he could have maybe waited and stealth a bit longer. I think that Ahri would have maybe thought that he's running out to this direction, maybe. But it's a flip, so he just tries to get to the plant as fast as possible. He gets that plant, one plant, another plant. Then he uses E Profane. The nice thing about this Profane proc is that you can use your Profane while you are in E animation, so you basically save time. And the E does 2 things, right? Like, it dodges the Q2, and it also leads to you being able to proc Profane in the middle. Now we use Q and then WQ with grass, because we see the TP coming in, and then after the Q from Mordekaiser, 1 auto attack is enough, and Ahri can't really hit anything anymore. And we have our Chinese boy smiling, so yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, really good skirmishing there, and this is one of the things, like, his skirmishing is just through the roof, and this is something that a lot of people simply wouldn't be able to make work, right? So this is enough, I think, for skirmishing in this VOD, and now I want to go into the other VOD and immediately go into a fight, and I want to show you guys a fight that Beifeng has played here, and I found this fight to be really interesting. So, as you guys can see, what we have here is we have a situation where we have a 3v3 at the moment, because Sign is top, nobody else is visible on the map. So what Beifeng does is he uses Q, and then in stealth, he uses his E-Flash. And that's really hard to react to. So even if the enemy ADC is good at reacting, if you use your entire full combo out of the stealth, it's really, really hard to react to. It's super, super hard to react properly to that. Now we contest the Baron, and another fight will break out here. So as you can see, we have the Mercs, and with Qiyana, you are really good at zoning people off, especially if there's a Baron fight happening, right? And he almost one-shots us through the Mercs, which is kind of crazy. And I want to break down what he does here. So I think, personally, it was a mistake to use E-Profane. I would have used EQ here just to get a guaranteed root. Like EQ Profane, and then I would have auto-attacked and used Ignite. So she's rooted, like, guaranteed, and also slowed. And then what you could do is you could grab Rock and just run her down, right? Or maybe grab another Ice, instead of using E-Profane. Because now you have the opportunity of this, this Q can now miss because you didn't use EQ before. So that was kind of a small misplay. Now I think what he will do is he will try to grab Ice again. Ideally you want to grab Grass a lot, but in this case it's fine. The reason why he grabs Ice is because he wants to CC the sign, so we can just kill that guy. We get a kill, and Drake is already up in 20 seconds, so I would definitely look to take a reset here. I don't really want to continue fighting, so I would just W over this wall and take a base immediately, like right now. And then you can come back on the map and try to play the dragon. Yeah, he took a reset that was simply too slow. This is one of these decision-making mistakes that's really huge. Like, imagine he would have taken a base, like, right here. Like, imagine he just W's over this wall and takes a reset, instead of yapping around here and then Wing over and then walking in here and then walking out again. That would mean that he is, in like a couple of seconds, like basically right now he would be in base, and now he would be walking back onto the map already, with the Drake coming up in 10-15 seconds. Which makes a huge difference, by the way. That's an insane, like, difference in speed. So he ends up fighting without spending his gold, which is not something I necessarily like. Now we take a reset, but the enemy team can now just contest the Drake, and they can't really do anything against it. So when there's a situation like this, what I really like to do is instead of going to the Drake, exactly, I would go top lane here. I would shove out the top wave, and I would really just get this wave shoved in, because you are too slow to get control of the area. You can't really do anything there. So I would push out mid lane wave, I would push out top lane wave, I'll get top lane tier 1. Exactly, beautiful. And then after pushing out the wave, you can look to make a play in the enemy topside jungle here. So you can maybe invade the blue buff, you can invade the Grump. And look, that's exactly what Nunu wants to do. So we are in line here. Perfect decision making here by Beifeng. And I'm pretty sure there will be a fight breaking out here in a moment. So let's see what's going on. We keep pushing. And here you really want to keep pressuring the side lane, because we have 2 Grubs and we also have the Baron. Even if the enemy team tries to push mid lane, you get so much here that it's just way too good to take a base, right? Or to walk mid lane. So if the team wins, that's good. If they lose, you don't really care because you get so much anyways, right? That's just a win-win situation. Now what you can do is you can keep pushing, or you could even move mid lane and try to push next mid wave. That's also fine. But it looks like his team is just denying the base for the enemy team, which then leads to him being able to just, continue shoving, which is huge. And now what ends up happening is that someone has to respond. So Cyan ends up responding here, and now you can move into the mid lane and you can catch these guys and have a clean numbers advantage and just play. I know that this is a mechanics guide, but this was an absolutely beautiful sequence, so I wanted to point it out. And by the way, guys, I want to mention something here. I want to go all the way back, okay? I want to go all the way back. So take a look at this. So how many of you guys would have went into the Drake here, would have gotten caught by someone, would have died, lost mid lane tier 1, and not gotten anything else? The difference to doing that and getting this entire top side and this tower, like basically 14 platings worth of gold, and then moving into the mid lane and also making a play there, the difference is so significant. And this is why mid game is so important, and why one single mid game mistake can literally cost you the game, like so quickly. So yeah, let's skip forward again. We get both towers, we move mid lane. We don't really get a kill, but that's fine. And now you probably have to like take a reset again. There's a fight breaking out here, so I don't really think you want this. You're really low on health. And now I want to just find out when exactly there is the next fight breaking out. So we ult the Cyan here, which is interesting, and then we position ourselves in a way where he can't ult out. Okay, let's break this down from a mechanical standpoint, okay? So First of all, we wait last second for his reset, so his tempo is even cooked harder. Then we EQ with ice and use profane. We ult, and while we ult, we grab rock to be efficient, right? It's really important, so you can use R and then W into the direction of your R and use an auto attack, which is exactly what he does. And then he keeps auto attacking, auto attacking, auto attacking. And Beifeng perfectly sticks to the rule that I have. The rule that I have is that as Qiyana, you are never allowed to be naked. What does this mean? Using this Q right now is too early. But using the Q in 2 seconds is fine because you immediately can grab another element and then you have additional auto attack damage again. So you never want to end up in a situation with Qiyana where you have nothing up. So look, now he uses Q because he can immediately grab another W. So now he can EQ the sign and then, yeah, just deal significantly more damage. And for your DPS and how much damage you actually deal to enemy champions, this makes a huge difference, guys. This is a very, very, very big difference. So let's take a look. I would probably shove out this wave, and then I would take a reset into going mid lane. That's what I would do personally. Unless his team... Yeah, I think cancelling the base was a bit troll, but I mean, that's okay. He's going to sell that, get Steel Sigil. I think they just killed the Lulu here. Exactly, now we go back on side lane. So as you can see, he side lanes a lot. Not a macro guide though, so I will not go into that way too deep. And now, so what I really like to do, guys, if an objective happens right before a fight, and you know you want to contest Drake, like you want right here, you really want to sit in these edges. You want to sit in this bush, in this bush, in that bush, and you want to use your sweeper and just sit there and do absolutely nothing. And then when a fight actually breaks out, the enemy team doesn't know where you are, and you have flash, and then you can just like mess an ADC or like squish your opponents up. Here in this case, Rek'Sai just decides to move into us and die. This guarantees the Drake. Let's take a look at the combo. So what we end up doing here is we E-ult Profane Auto Attack. So ER Profane Auto Attack. ER Profane Auto. And then we use QWQ. QWQ in order to kill the Rek'Sai here. Beautiful, nice little quick combo. Yeah, and I think now you should just push out midlane wave, and after shoving out the wave, you can play the Drake. It's interesting, it's really interesting here that the enemy team tries to do Baron. I think that's a pretty big mistake. Something the enemy team could have done is they could have tried to shove out top wave and maybe gotten top lane tier 1 or something, and then gotten control over the Baron area after pushing mid wave, but if you don't have mid control, it's just really hard to play the game in high elo. Okay, let's take a look. So we use grass into grass. So one mistake I see a lot is that people use grass and they wait too long to grab the next stealth, which is bad because that increases the overall uptime that you have in order to use another stealth. So if you do grass into grass, what ends up happening now is you can use the stealth duration to the max, like Beifeng did here, and now your next Q is already up, so you can use grass, he can grab stealth again, and then just jump out, you know, like. But if you are a bit too inefficient, you will be on vision too quickly, and then you can actually die. So again, stealth, grass, stealth, and now he walks out. So when Beifeng has no abilities, we are sitting again on the edges. We are sitting here somewhere. You can basically imagine a boomerang, and you are not allowed to enter the boomerang depending on what abilities the enemy champion has, right? Depending on what kind of draft they have and whether or not you can walk in. And then you just sit on the edges here. You wait for your cooldowns, you grab grass again, and then you just continue playing the fight. So I'm pretty sure he will grab grass. And then ult one target, hit the Tristana as well, pretty good. Stay in stealth, and now WEQ, slow, 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 not doing anything. Flash over now because we have our abilities up, WEQ. Perfect execution. Absolutely perfect execution, and now we just end the game through topside. So the main way you wanna skirmish is you wanna play really slow. You want to get into fog of war position, guys. And what you want to do is you want to be patient when you have no cooldowns, no CDs. So ideally you fight in a way where you always have some sort of cooldown, but if you don't, you really want to play patient and slow until you have CDs again. This is what I call walking around the edges, you know, like dancing. This is usually what I call dancing. So he just dances around the edges, doesn't do much, doesn't walk up into the enemy team, doesn't lose a lot of health, and then when his cooldowns are up again, then he grabs W, he grabs grass, he grabs an element, and then he continues fighting. And what you always want to do is you want to play slow with your ult, and wait for the right time and hit like high priority targets. So what I really like to do before a fight happens is I like to press tab and I like to figure out who I want to hit. So if you look at this game, the main key target was the Tristana, right? So what he did, and the Rek'Sai as well, because Rek'Sai can actually screw up his Vega, and Vega was a big win condition this game. So there are like multiple ways you can approach this, and it's quite a high level concept as well, because the way you use your ult can be different. You can use it defensively, offensively, etc, etc. But that's the main premise behind it, okay? So honestly, that's about it. I just wanted to have a little bit of a talk, explain a couple of mechanical concepts to you guys. If you found this helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave me a comment if you got any questions, and check out the links below as well if you want to get coached by me, if you want my perspective on how you can improve as a player, or if you want to join the MLA or just join my Discord for free. All the links are down below. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace out, bye bye, have a nice one.